The venture did not work out. I went flat broke, and that, for the first time in my life, I got to feel what depression feels like. What it feels like to not be able to get out of bed, to want to just lay there in your juices and stew and think about what a failure you are. And it was very difficult to manage. As anyone who's gone through it, it's not easy. It's real pain.
Yeah.
And touching the bottom of the pool was the most foundational experience that I've had. It made me get so grateful for everything that I did have that I started to see the world completely differently. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is another edition of the Budo Brothers podcast. You got Eric.
And Kyle.
And I am happy to announce that I'm free! Free falling!
Yes,
I took the leap of faith. So, for those who don't know, I have been employed with a full-time job the entire time we've been running Budo Brothers. We've always used, or at least viewed, my cushy, nice job as a safety net. We used it to finance Budo Brothers since the beginning. It has allowed us to not take on shareholders and have a set of new bosses. We haven't had to raise equity. We don't have a whole lot of debt. We did it the hard way by grinding it out dollar by dollar, reinvesting in the business, taking years, 5 years before we started paying you?
Yeah.
So it was all organic, and we hit a bit of a wave recently. A lot of good things have been happening. And it got to the point where it became officially irresponsible for me not to jump ship and go full-time on Budo Brothers.
Right.
My day job was running a technology accelerator where we would help entrepreneurs identify opportunities and invest in their business. My job was telling entrepreneurs to execute on opportunities. How dare I not execute on the opportunity that we've created?
Totally.
It's almost hypocritical.
Yes. Man, and the ability to completely put your focus into one thing is just so powerful. There's something that comes with splitting attention, right? Whenever you are focused on multiple things, it's never efficient as focusing your effort on one thing and doing it to the best of your ability.
It's so true. I had a false idea of what it meant to be an entrepreneur in my younger years. Like, entrepreneurs, they have 12 businesses, they have multiple streams of income, they do so much all at the same time, and they crush it, and they're so good at it. And that's what I am. And surprise, I had 6 ventures on the go, and not a single one worked out. A bunch of duds.
So this time's different. But if you know Eric's history, he tried this once before. And it definitely left a giant scar on you, right?
For sure.
Tell everybody about when you tried it once your first time.
Yeah.
And what it's like compared to doing it now.
So the first time I actually jumped ship from a cushy engineering job, making great money, was in 2014. I had this great idea for an app that I wanted to develop. And I was so excited about it. I was overcome with this exuberance, this rose-colored glasses that made me ignore data that didn't fit my thesis and my business case. And I convinced myself, because I had so many other things on the go, that the reason why they weren't successful is because I've always had one foot on the shore and one foot in the boat, and wondering why I haven't gotten anywhere. So I decided to take the leap of faith and submitted my resignation. I remember it, September 1st, 2014. And I had a year's worth of capital saved up. I'm like, I can hustle this for an entire year and live off of my savings. The problem was all of my savings was in the stock market and all of my investments were in oil companies. And in 2014, there was an oil crash. A year of capital turned into 6 months. 6 months came real quick. And at the ripe age of 30, I had to cash in my RSPs, my registered retirement savings, just to allow me to stop eating Costco hot dogs, which are great, by the way, but they do get old. So I learned for the first time in my life, I really felt like I didn't have an option. And I had to wave the white flag. I had to fold the business. I had to admit defeat. It didn't matter how hard I wanted to hold on. I had to tap. And if I didn't tap, you're going to pass out and completely bleed dry. And luckily, I had some reserves in savings, but it was a retirement savings. And guess what? I'm 30 years old. I'm not ready to retire yet. But that whole process really was fundamental in my development.
And for those who are listening in the States, RSP is equivalent to 401k.
Yeah,
yes.
Same. Mm-hmm. Yes. So when this didn't work out and I was so caught up in the venture itself that it was part of my identity. I was an entrepreneur and I told the world that I'm going to be this successful entrepreneur. Got this app, got an investor, got a developer. Just you wait. I get to travel the world, blah, 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 blah. And it was this exuberance. It was irrational exuberance is what it was. I can look back on it and talk about it clearly. During the time, I was too busy being excited. I was too busy being jacked up, thinking how amazing my future life is going to be. Right. And it was. Long story short, the venture did not work out. I went flat broke. And that, for the first time in my life, I got to feel what depression feels like. What it feels like to not be able to get out of bed, to want to just lay there in your juices and stew and think about what a failure you are. And it was very difficult to manage. As anyone who's gone through it, it's not easy. Mm-hmm. It's real pain.
Yes.
And I never understood like, oh man, cheer up, bro. Why are you sad?
Right.
Hey, come on. Life's good. Well, life's good until it's not. And it could get serious. Touching the bottom of the pool was the most foundational experience that I've had. It made me get so grateful for everything that I did have that I started to see the world completely differently. Instead of thinking how much I lost out on the future entrepreneur and my earnings and all this stuff, I started being so grateful for the simple things in life. A glass of wine with a friend, hanging out with my family, having a cup of tea in the morning. All these little things that I'm too busy to even notice it's awesome.
Right.
And that really was pivotal for me. So when I compare that experience to this experience now, because I didn't want to feel that pain again because it was painful. It was not enjoyable. And usually when you touch a hot stove, you don't want to touch it again because you learned the lesson. So naturally, I had a little bit of gun shyness. I was anxious about the what ifs, and I don't know if we're ready to walk walk the tightrope without a safety net. Mm-hmm. And every excuse I came up with, the universe said, cool story, bro. And it was just solved. It started to become obviously irresponsible for me not to. It's time. It just became time for me to go full time. Mm-hmm. And I could feel it in my bones. And this is what's so different about the last time I jumped ship and this time. This time, it is a calm calling. It is a feeling that is balanced. It's not, I've barely told anyone. Mm-hmm. Old me would have been posting this everywhere, and guess what, guys? Look at me. Bang, 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 bang. Yes. I'm an entrepreneur. Right? Not this time. Mm-hmm. This time it's different. This time I can feel it in my bones that this is the logical progression of my journey. You and I were put here to do this, so why aren't we getting after it and going all in? Chips in the table, let's go.
Love that. And for everybody listening, freedom is one of our core principles. And we believe we find a lot of freedom through entrepreneurship. Being our own bosses, creating our own things, having the ability to, have full say over what it is we're doing and where we're putting our attention. Now, if you're part of the small percentage of people who entrepreneurship is built for, because some people, this journey is not built for you.
No.
This entrepreneurship journey is consistent failure, and it's hard. It's consistent hard work.
Difficulty.
Whereas, when you work a job, you can leave it at the workplace, go home, and that's it. But with this freedom, if you are thinking of jumping ship, it is definitely a decision you need to put a lot of thought into. And we both tried it initially and both failed. I had a gym that went belly up.
Bust.
And I had to go back and work at a school in order to get capital in the bank.
Yeah. Back to the watering hole.
What we did differently this time was the side hustle process. And it's a longer, slower game. It took us 5 years to build a base.
Mm-hmm.
But it pays a lot. And slow is smooth, smooth is fast type thing. I think you hear that in martial arts. The fast way to try to get your freedom is to just go all in and get investments, take a loan from the bank, get all this capital.
Yeah. Hire a team of random people and hope it works.
But at that point, you don't even really know what you're good at, and you don't know what people are going to find valuable from what you do, if anything.
True.
And then there's this feeling out process at the beginning of, okay, what is the value that I'm actually creating for people, and how do I do it the most efficiently possible?
Yeah.
And to get your freedom, you need to produce value. You need to be valuable to people.
Yes.
Or else it doesn't work. There's no exchange.
No.
You cannot fake it till you make it.
No.
You can't sell garbage to people because eventually that it runs out. There's the jig is up.
Exactly.
So you have to test this out and work it as a side hustle and then go full in. But no matter what you do, and no matter what you tell yourself, and no matter how big you build it on the side, there's this moment in time where you're standing on the cliff and you're like, should I stay at my job or should I release the safety harness and walk this tightrope? And that is one of the hardest battles I think most people who are after their freedom face.
We went the slow grind. We figured it out. And I think we did it the way that it was supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk about freedom itself. The way that society is structured right now, it's in a way not that safe to rely on people to take care of you.
No.
There's an illusion when it comes to employment that it's safer for you. You get consistent checks. They put money into your benefits. There is a whole bunch of systems and structures that make you feel safe. But in the world today, I think the days of companies taking care of people are far gone. Like pensions, who knows how they're going to be.
Yeah.
retirement plans, who knows what they're like at companies. You have to take responsibility, personal responsibility over yourself. In a way, the way that the job market works and the way that life works, it's starting to become like the Wild West again. And to not realize that you are responsible for your own well-being is a big mistake. And when you take control of that, it's freeing. It's stressful because you realize like everything lives and dies by your choices, but it's freeing in the sense that you are now in control. You are now empowered. You take responsibility, and the mental effect that it has on a person is life-changing. It's why you can grind for 14 hours a day on your business. It's why you can do it as a side hustle. It's why it becomes your baby, your child, because it starts to tie into your passion, your purpose, and it's freeing.
That is the ultimate feeling that I feel humanity naturally gravitates towards. We all would love freedom. Wait, no, please, I want to be controlled. Said no one.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you might have a preference to have things laid out, and there's a lot of folks that love their job. Great. If that provides you fulfillment, fantastic. That we need people like that to be able to work on, problems that someone might feel is boring. Like, I don't think accounting is interesting.
No.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I would shoot myself if that was my profession because I couldn't do it. But there's some people that love the complexities of understanding another entrepreneur's business and figuring out how the lifeblood can make them successful. Thank goodness we have people like that because we'd be screwed.
Right.
So you have to love what you do. And I think once you can reach that state when you are willing to take vacation from your day job to go work on your side hustle, it's time. And if I look at all the vacation weeks that I've burned, it's because we went to go to the martial arts super show or we went to go film a digital seminar. Like, I'm taking vacation to go hustle.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like work at all. I literally feel like I retired.
Yeah. Yes, because we're going to be doing this till we're 90 years old. And the other thing too is focusing on the journey rather than the result. We enjoy this. We enjoy sitting down doing this podcast. We enjoy hanging out and working on something. Focusing on the act of doing something versus where it will take you is so much more important, and it allows you to be happy in the moments when you're working on things. Because if you're just focusing on Ferraris or the house or the money that you're going to get from starting this thing, it's not the right energy that's going to get you through the hard times of what's ahead.
It's so interesting because if I look at entrepreneurs that are literally just focused on the dollars, sure, some of them have hit it, made it big, great. But if I look at some of the most successful ones, the monetary measurement is an after effect. It is an effect of what they have caused in the world. They are going out and doing things, not focusing on, yes, it's important, but it isn't their holy soul North Stars, just the money, because that's easy to get bucked off of.
And when you lose it or you have a hard patch, man, that's a roller coaster down, because money comes and goes and comes and goes. And sometimes you have a great month. Other times you're like, damn, like,
why am I doing this?
Yeah. And if you're only focused on it, it can be so volatile, the peaks and the valleys of it. It's crazy.
One of the biggest hacks and what we focused on since day one is how do we provide value? How do we be of service? How can we make this more innovative? What can we do to improve this? How can we help the next generation? How can we inspire someone to put their son or daughter in martial arts? How can we help somebody add new tools and systems into their own training regimen? How can we? And it's always from a valence of service. And that's the only reason why we've made it this far.
And as we get better at this too, one of the things we really hope we can do is set an example for other people who are interested in doing something that is their passion and turning it into their career. I can full-heartedly say that if you're sitting there listening to this and there's something that burns inside you, an idea, a passion that you've always wanted to try, you can do that and turn it into something with hard work and dedication.
Key ingredient.
Because Eric and I started this business for $1,000 each. We had no capital to throw into this thing.
No.
And it just took a lot of hard work and effort. And I mean, we're not in a multi-billion-dollar company.
Of course not.
But we're at the point where we're both working on it full time. And that was our big goal of ours. Mm-hmm. It was a big goal to be able to support ourselves enough where we could put our full attention into it. And now we're very interested in to see where we can scale it to from here.
It's going to be a jerk. I feel like I'm just getting started, which is so funny because it's like, I also had this realization just a few days before I was submitting my resignation, was that I'm not doing anything courageous. I'm leaving something that is a sure thing and going into something, there's some risk, there's unknowns, but the hard work's been done. The training, we've prepared. We're ready for the fight. Mm-hmm. We're ready to go into the ring.
Yeah.
What is done is done. We went to training camp for 5 years, 6 years. You know, this is our 6th year in business. Mm-hmm. So really, in the 6th year, we have now gone to a long enough fight camp where we feel like we can do it without the safety net. Yeah. And you know what? Let the cards fall where they lie.
Exactly.
I would forever live in regret if I did not jump and go swing at this. Chips in. This is what I was put on the planet to do. Mm-hmm. Let's go. I would forever live in regret if I did not pump on that wave that we caught.
Because, yeah, when you jump, you do not have 100% certainty it's going to work out.
No.
And, like, we don't have 100% certainty this is going to work out.
Of course not.
You can never.
We could be taken out
tomorrow.
There's 1,000 different ways to die.
Yes. And being in a place where you're comfortable in your soul that you're still making the right decision to jump because you know you have to see it out, it's like, I need to see what's behind that curtain. Mm-hmm. I need to see what's behind that curtain. No matter what's on the other side, I need to know. And that need to know and finding that answer is more important than anything, or else you live your life with regrets and what ifs.
The worst. And if you ever listen to palliative care nurses, that they talk to the elderly out there, I think a nurse wrote a book about this, about, you know, what are the most common things that the elderly say right before they're ready to transition to the next phase. And so many of them, it's a regret. I wish I spent more time with my family. I wish there's a feeling of, what did I not go? I wish I would have, you know, they always say, what would you give your earlier self advice? You know, what would you, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself then? Mm. And it's a regret. The regret piece is where I was going. Regret is something that is a heavy burden to bear. It's a heavy weight, you know, and I would rather try this and fail than not try at all and live with regret. Is what if I did? What if I said, I'm ready, let's go, and I didn't do it because I was playing defense. And I really feel like I've been playing defense for a long time. And if I look back on our journey, the irony is that the best time, if I look back on when we were doing this. The absolute most prime time for to leave my secure job was right at the beginning of COVID. It was. Our business did well during COVID. We were an e-commerce business when all physical stores are shut down.
Yeah.
And we were helping people train when their dojo was locked down.
Yeah.
We were in a good position, but we thought our business was going to crater. We were ready to call turtle time.
Yeah.
Turtle time is when you suck everything in and shell up and take the beating. And we were ready for that.
Yeah.
But if you look back, no, that is straight. That is ballsy to just, all right, hey, into the storm.
The world's going south. I don't know if
But the moral of the story is that you always have to strike the right balance between offense and defense. And when I look back at this, it's like we probably played defense for a little too long. But we're ready. I'm ready to go on offense.
Yes. And yeah, that's always the offense versus defense question, you know. Budo Brothers challenge.
I think you said it, man. Find what can ignite the flame inside you and look at ways that you can start to free yourself of things that no longer serve you.
And actually, I want to bring it back to something you said as well, too. The word wish.
Wish.
When you do drills where you like watch negative self-talk, rarely ever does using that word have a positive effect on your life.
I wish
I was taller. I wish I had more money. I wish I did that better. It's whenever you say the word wish, it's a reflection on wanting something that you don't have or looking at something that an outcome went non-favorable and dwelling on it.
Right.
Whenever I use that word wish, it never has anything productive to go behind it.
Can it be used as fuel to like, oh, I wish I did that better. I'm going to try again. I'm like at least.
Why wouldn't you say I'm going to do that better?
Yeah.
I wish I could do that better. I wish I was this. I wish I had more money. I wish.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing actionable about it. It exists in a space of wanting and
desire
and lack of,
right,
versus abundance. And it's so hard to live an abundant mindset. I even struggle with that a lot. Living an abundant mindset, like I have enough, I am enough, I deserve great things, right? That's a hard thing to keep in your mind consistently, because everybody deserves great things. What that looks like varies, though.
And we are responsible for our reality. What we've created in our lives are a result of the decisions we've made. If you make good decisions, good things happen. You make bad decisions, you course correct and get back on the path. So make some good decisions and look at your life and figure out, where are you capped? Where are the chains, and what can you start to, file away at what's locking you down? Because the reality is we all want freedom. We all want to live freely. And the more constrained we are, the more hamster wheels we spin, wondering why we're not getting anywhere. We have to first be aware of what those are. And that's the first step.
Love it. And I did find one place for the word wish. I wish you guys a good week. And we'll see you next week.
That is a good one. Nice. Till next week.